Hello everyone and welcome back to the World Explorer podcast. This is the podcast where we take a prompt and then we build an entire world around it. My name is Casey and as always I'm joined by my friend Isaac the Prompt Master.
Tolkien.
Maybe one of these days you're gonna say hello and it's gonna surprise me.
Hello? Oh, that feels weird.
I mean, it's not a question mark. People are here.
Okay, anyway, so I was thinking that we tried pulling our own, we usually do unique styles of world building, some sort of crazy unique new idea.
Yeah.
I was thinking that maybe what we could try and do this time around is sort of a very classic Tolkien-esque sort of feel for a world, like you might see in something like Lord of the Rings, and maybe put in our own little spin on it, but it still have it sort of be that classic world building.
So, we have the elves and hobbits and men and dwarves.
And orcs and goblins, wizards, witches, demons, centaurs, unicorns, mermaids. Just your very standard fantasy world, not necessarily all Tolkien.
Well, I was about to say half that stuff is not Tolkien. That sounds like Narnia.
I mean, it doesn't necessarily need to be limited completely to Tolkien's creatures.
Yeah.
But still, a lot of the very classic mythological creatures.
Okay. So, are we going Onward, where it's all modern technology but with Tolkien creatures?
We can. I was thinking I was just thinking go as classic as possible. It's medieval era.
Swords.
Magic. Swords,
the ultimate evil that.
You got your ultimate evil Dark Lord. Farm boy, nobody, chosen one. Maybe gets a special sword.
Or a ring. Or becomes king. That's the Narnia.
Or all of the above.
True, there is the all of the above option.
Why not?
Yeah.
Okay, so where do we want to start with this world?
The ultimate evil, I think, is a great place to start.
Okay, that's a great... Okay, so ultimate evil overlord who reigned for millennia and then was struck down by the hero of ancients with the diamond sword gifted to him by the goddess.
We just can't forget that the ultimate evil has to point that all evil is also in yourself. It's because the true ultimate evil is your inner evil that you have to fight against.
Okay, so this ultimate evil, maybe he's powered by the evils of the world. Maybe the more evil is in the world, the stronger he becomes.
Yeah.
This is still something classic.
It is a classic. Yeah.
Batu from Legend of Korra operates that way.
Or even how the boogeyman operates from the Guardians of the that one, The Rise of the Guardians. That's the name of the movie. Yeah, from The Rise of the Guardians, he feeds on kids' disbelief. So the more that disbelieve and are unhappy, the more stronger he gets.
Yeah, so maybe we can have one of those classics.
I like those villains, because the only way to defeat them is to, defeat a part of yourself, or accept a part of yourself, or...
Okay, so maybe the striking down with the diamond sword thing doesn't work.
Well, it probably wouldn't. It's more
Unless it's, sealing him away.
Yeah, normally creatures
years.
like that, you have to seal them away, because you can't actually defeat them, because there's always evil and darkness in the world. So you kind of just have to seal them away and hope that he doesn't escape.
Well, of course he's gonna escape after 1,000 years.
Well, yeah,
maybe 10,000. Because those are the two standard. Let's just say after 1,000 years, he shall return, ready to set the world on fire.
Oh yeah, there's got to be a prophecy foretelling his return.
Of course.
I go for the option that he made the prophecy himself as he was being sealed away in whatever he got trapped in.
Oh yes, right before he's sealed away by the hero with the diamond sword, he says, "I shall return as the world becomes darker on the day day of on the thousandth year.
And then it just muffles, and you don't hear the rest of the sentence, so you never know when he was about to give away the exact date of his return so people could prepare, but they were so eager to get rid of him that they missed it. It's
Yeah,
what
you could have it so like maybe as he's being sealed away, he's possibly like maybe just killing hundreds, if not thousands, like every second. And so
yeah.
people are like, okay, what are we gonna do? Do we wait and let him kill more people and learn his prophecy? Just let him keep talking and do his thing? Which, no, they wouldn't. He's a Dark Lord. He's gonna keep talking for as long as he needs.
Yeah.
Or do we just shove him in and get him to shut up?
Yeah, let's just
Stop
shut
killing
him
people.
up. But yeah, so they'll get the exact date because they needed to seal him off early. So now no one knows the exact time. They have a basic timeline. But it's also a great lesson in why, honestly, getting a villain to monologue is always a pro tip. Just, if you can do it, go ahead.
Unless your villain is just killing thousands every second.
Well, yeah, but, like, if he's not, getting your villain to monologue, it's a good time to give you time to plan something and think. You can learn his evil plan, then get extra information. Or, honestly, you could even end up just befriending them or convincing them not to do it because you just have a nice conversation and they open up to you, and next thing you know, you've solved it with words instead of fighting. Villain monologues are usually a good thing to get going.
So is this dark evil overlord? Is he like in spirit form? Is he a man, like humanoid creature? Is he like a giant demonic centaur-like creature? Some sort of giant creature that like no one's ever seen before, like a Balrog sort of style. What is he?
He's probably like he seems more spirit-like, but he's confined to one place.
Maybe his true form is a dragon because that's classic.
That is a classic. The dragon is a classic. So I'm cool with that. We can go all Maleficence on the world.
Maybe all dragons are like creatures created by him. They're like just things that just these all dragons are monsters that he has created. To help him spread darkness across the world.
Yeah.
And so while he's sealed away, these dragons are doing his bidding, preparing for his return.
Yeah. Yep. If anything, like the dragons are the master behind unlocking their ultimate their creator, because maybe the dragons have been cursed, like there's a bunch of them and they were reproducing and stuff, but once the Dark Lord was sealed away they could no longer make dragon eggs. So in order for them to become more prominent and create more of themselves and take over the world like they had hoped, they have to release the Dark Lord so they can start making more dragons again.
Maybe, but if they're gone for 1,000 years, how long do dragons live for?
They just don't die. They have to be killed.
Okay, so they're eternal.
Yeah, unless they're killed.
Okay, yeah, and they're just very difficult to kill. You're talking about a gigantic, fire-breathing, scale-covered lizard.
Yeah,
that flies.
Armor-plated. Yeah, exactly. The best way to defeat a dragon? According to Lord of the Rings, the best way to get it to defeat a dragon is to get it to monologue.
Yeah.
It is.
That's it. Monologue.
You monologue it.
The answer.
Yeah, you get it to monologue. It's distracted, talking about itself and its greatness, and then you stab it in the throat while it's still talking. It's how you. It's even in like D&D campaigns when they talk about like their dragons, they always say, "Oh, their greatest weakness is that they're vain." Just get them to start talking about themselves, and you're golden.
Yeah.
Like any show, they're like, just get it to talk about itself.
Just start complimenting his jewelry and all the gold and stuff that he's collected.
The 1,000 people he's killed.
So, of course, all of these dragons, because we're going classic, they need to hoard treasure.
Well, yeah. Yes. Yeah, they gotta have
Now, question. Do griffins exist in this world? Because griffins also hoard treasure.
True. But
I'm just thinking...
I don't know.
I'm just wondering, like, could there be some sort of interesting conflict or tie-in with griffins and dragons if they both hoard treasure?
We just want to be careful, like, that griffins aren't killing off dragons, and we don't get our fun heroes to do it.
I don't know how effective a griffin would be at killing off a dragon.
I think a flock of griffins could be pretty effective.
Now, are they going to be too cowardly? Like, do they value their lives over the treasure, and so they just wouldn't even engage a dragon?
Well, you know, even a dragon, like, has other interests beyond treasure. I feel like a griffin is known for just liking shiny things. Like, that's its whole personality type, are shiny. At least a lot of the griffins I've seen. Or, well, not seen, but, like, read about and heard about.
That and being a bit of a deus ex machina for Gandalf.
Those weren't griffins, those were giant eagles.
Oh yeah, they were giant eagles, that's right. There's too many bird-like creatures.
Not in Lord of the Rings.
In fantasy in general.
Okay, I was about to say.
Giant eagles, griffins, hippogriffs.
Oh yeah, phoenixes. Harry Potter introduces like 20 new ones. Rocks are fun. Rocks are terrifying.
Yeah, which have like the dumbest name ever.
Yeah, and they're so terrifying. They are massive. Like, they're the size of a dragon. They'll drop a house on you and it's just a stone. It's scary. I think the scary about rocks, though, is that, like, there's evidence that a creature that's like a rock actually existed, or some people still speculate that it does, to which I say, how is something that big still hidden? But, you know.
Yeah.
Deserts are big expansiveness of nothingness.
Okay, so we've got the dragons. Are we going with the griffin idea, or no? Just want to leave that out?
I kind of just want to leave it out.
Okay.
Personally.
So, the dragons are... what else can we world build with these dragons? Are do they often, like, go and burn down civilians? Well, let's keep this in mind. Their goal is to spread darkness. And so their goal is to put darkness and evil in the hearts of the people of the world. How would the dragons go about doing that?
So there are two classic types of terrorist dragons. The first type is the type that just like goes on raiding sprees and takes things and then hoards it in its tour, and then they just burn towns and destroy people and food. But then there's the second type, which is infinitely worse and I think might fit better for this, is dragons that will take over towns and almost enslave the people to do their bidding and to bring them treasure and stuff like that. And then they have evil people armies helping them out as well, which is another layer of protection for the dragons, because, you know, we gotta keep these dragons alive for 1,000 years. Or at least a couple. Like, I'm sure tons of them die as time goes on, but, like, a couple of them gotta live.
Okay, so, they probably, like, enslave, people. I guess that could, like, also bring down morale, but morale is not darkness.
No, well, so this is what they're not really, sure, they're enslaving people, but at the same time, enslaving then turns into recruiting for the darkness. Like, I'm enslaving you, I'm torturing you, but there's a way out. Serve the darkness, serve me, and suddenly you get a share of my riches and my power. You have dragons backing you up, and we can take over the worlds. You know, you get your peasant boy gets to be a tax collector if he serves the darkness.
Okay, so now they have more of a reason to steal treasure than just hoarding it. They actually
they get
spend it on their forces.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, all of this torture will end, and you can get like a better life than you had before if you just serve the darkness.
Just serve the darkness. Let us release the Overlord. And then we can have more dragons. But they probably leave that part out.
Yep, like, maybe, like, their plan is to just get rid of the entire human race, and maybe all other races, and just populate the entire world with nothing but dragons.
Yeah, but I think
what... Like the end goal for this Dark Lord.
Yeah, but what happened was that, you know, once the Dark Lord was... the people got wind of this and found a way to trap the Dark Lord. And then afterwards, the dragons realized they couldn't make more dragons. And, in fact, they were being hunted by these people. So I bet there was a good 400 or 500 years where dragons were just mass slaughtered. in the shock until they became smart enough. Before, I guess, rumor, they managed to flip the script of what, of the rumor of the Dark Lord and make him seem less threatening and actually a good thing. And then came the enslavement and the gathering of armies of humans, and now they're like, okay, there's like 6 of us left. We can't destroy the humans yet. We need them to release the Dark Lord, and then we can destroy them. Because I guess a human involvement is needed to release the Dark Lord.
Yeah, I like that idea where you must somehow have well, I guess if there's a prophecy, it has to come true. So yeah, you can have a human. I was gonna say, well, what if because if there was a time limit on it, but the time limit's caused by prophecies, yeah, human needs to release the Dark Lord.
Yeah.
And of course, the one that's gonna release the Dark Lord has to be the hero.
Yeah.
Because we're going very cliche and classic storytelling. The hero is gonna be the one to release the Dark Lord.
Yes, and feel awful for doing it, but he does it.
Oh yeah. And
full Black Cauldron.
I have not actually seen that movie.
Yeah, that's the hero releases the Dark Lord and then defeats it. And if you're saying I'm spoiling it, this movie is ancient and it is a classic, and that, of course, that's what happens.
And it sounds cliche.
It does. It was an okay movie.
Okay, so what else?
We gotta have our love interest for the hero.
Of course.
I vote they go on the adventure instead of staying behind, because those are your 2 options.
Well, the other option is damsel in distress.
No one likes that in the modern era.
Yeah, but we're going classic old school. Which there was no female characters that weren't either damsel in distress or dead.
Or stayed at home.
Or stayed at home.
I don't know, Guinevere was pretty involved.
In the original story?
Yeah.
Oh.
She sat in the council. She wasn't much of a quest goer, but she was definitely an advice person. I mean, she also was one of the 2 people that caused the entire downfall of Camelot, so there's that. I'd
also,
say
there's a chance that they could be evil, like witches, or like Morgana.
Yeah.
Okay, so love interest, like she can come along on the journey, but what is one of the most cliched ways we can have her come along on the journey?
That's so easy. No.
I don't know.
Okay, this is so easy. What often happens, alright, is they get kidnapped in the beginning. They get rescued pretty early on in the adventure, but it's at the point where they can't turn back, and they're stuck along.
This is where the Lancer comes in. The Lancer is the one to rescue them.
What? I mean, well, the hero has to rescue her. Like, that's just...
Oh.
That's just... he can't not rescue her. I mean, he can not... I mean, unless... because...
I was thinking this was going to be like the love triangle starts, where, like,
you have your Arthur, your Lancelot, and your Guinevere, and Lancelot rescues Guinevere, but Arthur's like, hey, dude, I was here first.
Yes.
And Guinevere's just sitting there like, are you guys really gonna destroy kingdoms over this? And they're both like, yes. It's like, I'm not worth it, just saying.
Name that we can give him.
I mean, no, this guy is heroic. Like, you want both.
So he's like a Mary Sue. Okay, we can go with the Mary Sue.
I mean, come on, Lancelot is a Mary Sue, if ever there was one.
Yeah, the original version of him, yeah, he is a Mary Sue.
He's a very Mary Sue.
He's totally not a self-insert character, OC, hashtag do not steal.
Yeah, no. Yeah, so, we could make him the classic Mary Sue, and then... I mean, none of these characters have any major death. Like, the classic stories, they're pretty... You're heroic, you're the... Or, you also have to have, like, your minstrel character who's just literally humming along. Bursts out into songs every now and then. Gotta write it all down, your storyteller. Probably the only person in the group who knows the prophecy, but no one lets him finish the song so he can explain it to people. And then mentor figure who's a wizard is the other one in the group.
Of course, like, and he's got to be an ancient wizard that teaches the main character how to use magic, but then dies before he can resolve.
Well, yeah, he's not allowed to make it to the end.
And he's gonna face it. He's got to do it facing a dragon or some other dark, evil creature, maybe even facing like sort of a reflection of or shadow of the Dark Lord himself approaching
But
him, like not in his true form, but manages to send this sort of figure of himself from his prison to face off against the wizard. And
well,
then
at
kills
this
him.
point, the Dark Lord is released. Like Dark Lord being free is the starting of the plot.
Well, no,
More
the
so,
Dark Lord
or
gets
like,
freed by the hero, like maybe towards the end. Like the dragons, I was thinking would like end up forcing the hero to free him.
well, no, yeah, but so we're going with the he gets freed and then the what? But so what about? So I'm a little confused by this plot wise in the classic story, because so you're saying like they free him, it's this big dramatic thing, and then they instantly kill him or retrap him. Because you can't end with the Dark Lord winning.
Like in the middle of the book. I
don't
know.
middle. Normally it's either like right in nearish the beginning, like say it's an eight act play, and it'd be the second or third act.
So yeah, I'm just thinking like he's got to start off on his journey because the idea is the Dark Lord is returning, and maybe even in an effort to stop the prophecy, they cause the prophecy and release the Dark Lord.
Well, that's always how it happens. You can't.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
We're going cliche, classic.
Like, yeah. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, I'll full agreement on that. So I just want to review what our group is. So right now we've got the hero, the love interest, the third wheel triangle love interest, the mentor, the minstrel, and I guess you have to have the best friend to the hero.
Yeah, like
the one who we end up, the one we all end up liking more than the hero. And then the end of the day, we're like, can he just be the hero? But if he was the hero, then we wouldn't like him as much. So you have that. Like, we all love Samwise, but let's admit it, if he had been carrying the ring the entire time, none of us would have liked him.
Yeah. So what are we giving these characters names, or are we just leaving them as?
Nah. I mean,
Okay.
we could just stick with, like, picking the classics. So we can have Arthur be our main character, Lancelot and Guinevere. We can have Gandalf be the mentor just for the fun of it. Samwise can be the best friend. What's a classic minstrel? So we can just call him the Bard. Which is...
Okay, so...
Yeah, he's just the Bard. No one really knows his name.
We'll name him Bart. Bart the Bard.
Sure. That's what we want to go with. Alright, so now we have our merry bands who have both released the Dark Lord, and gets to put him back in. And the main enemy's dragons.
Okay. So in the encounter, like where the wizard faces off against the great evil, who is he facing? Like, is he facing the Dark Lord himself? Is he facing a dragon? What is it?
Just keep in mind, I just want to note, in the 9 act play, wizard dying is like number 7. Is Act 7. Is usually around then, so it's past the halfway mark, but not far past it. Like the act after the halfway mark, or maybe sometimes they make it to the one after.
I mean, the wizard, of course, has to defeat some enemies so that we get a demonstration of his power, so that once we see him lose to the Dark Lord, we learn just how powerful the Dark Lord is.
And obviously he had to be like underusing his abilities the whole time, so like this is just a complete shock, and you're sitting there like, why didn't you use that earlier? You know.
Because I do not like to flaunt my abilities. Ooh.
Near-death experiences is not the time to be righteous. But I don't know what he'd be I guess, like, maybe the big dragon, like, the leader of the dragons could be a good one.
Yeah, I'm thinking, like he could come and, like, he could face, like, the Dark Lord in the form of a dragon, or face the Dark Lord's right-hand dragon.
I vote for right-hand dragon. Because then the death actually, like, him killing it actually means something.
Yeah, and plus, if it's like, oh my gosh, the dragon is so powerful, but this isn't even our final boss.
No, yeah, exactly. This is the guy down. We lost, and the person who defeated it's now dead, defeating it. So like,
that's like, how are we going to defeat the Dark Lord? Send down the heavenly light and the diamond sword of all that is good, to seal away the darkness for another 1,000 years.
Delivered by an elf.
What?
It's got to be delivered by an elf. You know, it's either a Lady of the Lake or an elf.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
we've already got enough Arthur in here. Like,
we've
he's
already
the main
got
character.
King Arthur. But we're trying to make it at least maybe a little bit somewhat unique. So let's say an elf in the lake.
Oh, let's combine them? The elf of the lake.
Okay, maybe it'd be more like, how often are special artifacts like this found on mountaintops? I know there's a lot of stuff on mountaintops.
Yeah. I don't know, but this feels like a lake thing, though. This is definitely a lake item. I mean, we could have the lake surrounded by mountains, so they have to climb through the mountain to get to the lake.
Maybe it's a lake at the top of a mountain.
Oh, that works. We can have the lake at the top of the mountain. It's magical because it's not frozen despite being so high up.
It's very sparkling, clean water that is that legend says if you drink it, you will live forever.
Let's not go that far. We don't need these people living forever.
No, it's just a legend. It's not true.
Oh, okay, good. As long as
people just think that the goddess has blessed this water to help people live forever. But maybe it's something minor. Maybe it's something like it's a healing water. Like
yeah, that works. Yeah, potion you can take that could be very useful at the end fight.
Yes, of course. When the hero is struck down, is about to die, and then the love interest runs over with a healing potion in his legs. Hey, go fight again!
And then she's like, by the way, it was always you, kisses him, and then the other guy just goes sits there, like, slowly crying in the corner, like, no! Because he doesn't actually, this is the happy ending one, so he doesn't get the girl.
I mean, once all this is over, the Lancelot, he has to either sacrifice himself or get his own girl.
We might go with
he marries a king's daughter.
Yeah. I mean, well, actually, the options are he either dies in the last fight, but he gets a moment with the hero where they kind of agree that you're okay, and he kind of gives him permission to go for the girl, and like they're best buds by the end of it, to the best friend's disappointment at that point. But he's about to die, so the best friend's not losing anything really. Or after the fight, he realizes that that the love interest actually likes the hero better, and he gets all moody and depressed and goes off into the woods to seek his own fate, and you never hear from him again. Those are your two options.
I like the idea of the Lancelot character getting a love interest character at the end.
I always hate those though, because they're just so forced.
Well, that's why we have to do it.
Why? But is that the cliche for that type of character? I think it's more of a cliche for the best friend to get a love interest last minute.
Yeah, that's true.
So let's compromise.
Lemur
Lancelot.
At the end of Dinosaur.
What?
The lemur at the end of Dinosaur.
Yeah, it's a very, very prime example of that. Samwise is actually a good example of that. He gets a love interest at the end, kind of. Like, it's hinted at the beginning, and then at the end it's like, oh, by the way, he's married and has kids now, and you're just like, okay!
So, yep, that might
I think it's... So, we'll compromise. The Lancelot character either dies or wanders off depressed and moody for every girl who's reading this book to simp over for the rest of their lives, and the best friend gets a random hookup. It's a true love, and they get married and have kids, and they live happily ever after, but still. That's good compromise? Both happy?
Okay, yeah, we could do that.
Okay, awesome.
Alright, so what else we got? Well, we need to do some of the classics. What are orcs and goblins doing here?
Well, we have our Dark Army are actually humans in this version.
Yeah, so what do orcs and goblins do? Are they like wild animals more?
The option is they can be teamed up with the evil humans, or they could just be a free-for-all that just kills on sight.
I think I like the idea of free-for-all.
I think that's more good, yeah.
I think that creating sort of a natural danger in this world might be a good idea. Just have like orcs, maybe they're just these giant troll-like creatures that march around the forest hunting people.
Yeah, so that way they're more like minor inconveniences along the way. They're the warm-ups for our merry bands, you know, for them to learn how to work together. Examples of the wizard not using its full potential and you getting frustrated with him. comes from
Yeah.
these battles. You know, stuff like that.
And goblins, are they gonna be in a similar boat as the orcs, or are they gonna have something different? Maybe they're mischievous creatures, who maybe they can fight, but
I mean, we also,
uh,
because you have your like physical challenges, right? Your physical minor challenges, but you also always have to have like a mental one, because with like the goblet of eternal life, whatever it's called, I don't remember. You
the cup
have,
of life.
yeah, is it just the cup of life? Anyways,
I think it goes by a few names.
yeah. In order to get that, you have to figure out which cup it is, and that's a riddle you have to solve. In Lord of the Rings, you have Gollum giving lots of riddles, just in general. So lots of riddles there. Other adventures, you have like the Sphinx giving riddles. There's always a mental riddle challenge, so we have to have one of those too. And I think it could be kind of fun to have the goblins be a more mental, like they force the characters into like a riddle type thing, or some type of puzzle they all have to solve to prove that they're not just bronze, they've got some brains too.
Yeah, I don't actually think the goblins should be very bronze-y.
Yeah, I think they're more...
they shouldn't have much bronze. They should be like, I'd say maybe 2 or 3 feet tall.
Yeah.
Maybe they're like fast, but that's about all they've got.
They're the
they're
type
armed with daggers, maybe spears.
Yeah, they're the type of people, like, they don't, when you talk to them, they don't sound clever, like, they talk in, like, slurs and really broken English and grammar and stuff, but,
Yeah.
but what's going on in their head is terrifyingly smart, and they capture our heroes in a trap, which they then have to think out of, because they can't fight out of it. And in the end, the goblins end up actually giving them something helpful for succeeding, and then they continue on their way.
Yeah. Ooh, maybe something that happens is they like games. They really like messing with people.
Yeah, but
so one of the things that they do is they get people in this scenario where it's like, oh, we've stolen your important item, like your sword of lights or diamonds or whatever. So you will only get it back if you solve our riddle. And then they solve the riddle, and it's like, that was a trick question, trick riddle. Now you got to solve this next one. Oh, you solved that one, but that leads to this next one. They just keep on holding them up for ages.
Yeah, I mean,
that's what they like to do.
If we actually a lot of times characters like this, they actually are required to go for them to progress in the quest. So it could be that the goblins are the ones that know where this diamond sword is. And so they have to play the goblins, and this is why they're not killing the goblins right off just to grab like the sword back or anything, because they need to get information from the goblins, so they have to play the goblins game. So usually with brainy characters, you need information out of them, or else you could just smash your way through.
Yeah.
So they might be so what progression along our 9-act play, or however many act plays, you've got Act 1, where Act 1 is always backstory. This is what happened 1,000 years ago, so flashback. Act 2 always starts with our main character and like a brief introduction of all the different little side characters and stuff. Act 3 is usually some inciting incident that drives all these main characters together and towards something. Act 4 would then be them either Act 4 and 5, so it's probably a 2-act thing, would be involving them releasing the evil spirit into the world. Act 6 is them escaping from that situation and then realizing they have to solve the problem. Act 7 is them, I guess, going goblin. Goblin would be Act 7, going to the goblins to discuss with them, trying to find the lake, so they get their information there. Act 8, they would be journey to the lake, where they would probably come across the orcs and have to prove their strength and stuff. Act 9, they get the sword, but by getting the sword, they've alerted the main dragon where they are. So Act 9 is an epic dragon fight with the mentor dying. And then Act 10 is making their way to the Dark Lord, and Act 11 is them killing it, while Act 12 is the cute little conclusion where Mr. Friend magically finds a wife, and the love interests finally get together, and the Lancelot character goes off into the woods like the emo he is. Meanwhile, the minstrel's just singing his song and becomes world famous for being able to tell the story. The end.
I love it, but it's missing one thing.
What's that?
The gigantic army fight where it's like
Oh, yeah.
the Dark
Well, that's
Lord's forces versus the Kingdom of Good.
okay. In between, them after they get on their way, they've already passed on the way on their journey there. It's getting to the Dark Lord. We'll add in another act, which is them having to fight their. Well, it's kind of weird. They fight their way through the Dark Army, but it's more like. Which kind of, in order for them to do that, they almost need to make allies with a kingdom that will then do the fighting for them while they sneak in. Because that's usually how it works.
Okay.
So, somewhere along the way, they've had to have some peace conferences with this army trying to urge them to do good. Oh, wait. This is actually really easy. This is Lancelot's family. So they go to Lancelot's kingdom. Lancelot's a prince now, which, kind of makes sense. Oh, come on, you know he would be.
Yeah. The very soon, of course, he's going to be destined to rule a kingdom.
Yeah.
And so he'll get a wife eventually.
Yeah, you know what? He just goes back to his kingdom and moodily rule. Yeah. So Lancelot. So they go to Lancelot's kingdom and they're urging his father to send the armies to help fight. And the entire season, the entire journey, there's like this: what if? Are they actually going to show up or not? Oh no, we all know they will, but there's always like the characters don't know, but of course they are because this is the cliche version. And they're about to face off this dark army, just the 676. They lost someone, so not many of them. One of them is a useless damsel and a useless bard. So only 3 of them can fight, and we all know the friend's not the greatest with a sword. He's more the heart and soul of this thing. He's also a very good chef.
One or more of the useless people have to get like imprisoned or captured and are about to be eaten and cooked alive and something, so they've got to go out and have a rescue mission.
Yeah, that happens at some point always. That's probably where the orcs come in. That's the orc episode is where they get kidnapped and they have to be rescued. But as they're facing down the army, they then hear a roar behind them, and it's Lancelot's father has come to help his son with his mission, and they get to planning, and there's an epic battle while they sneak in through the back door. There you go.
Yep.
You got it. It's there now.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And also there are trolls in the Dark Army that are just beasts that they control and whip and poke with spears to have fight for them.
Yeah.
Which of course they're going to have to turn around on their own forces at some point by defeating the people with the whips.
Yeah. They just become like chaos at halfway through.
Of course.
You just don't know what they're going to be. You won't get this reference, but Harry Potter, The Last Battle, they're the spiders. Congratulations to those who do get that reference.
Meaning everyone but me.
Yeah. So, pretty much just in the last battle, the spiders come from the Dark Forest to participate, but they just attack and eat everyone. Like, they don't care what side they're on, they're just there for the buffet.
Well, real quick, does the mentor come back to life?
Nah. I hate those versions. I prefer the cliche ones where he doesn't. Now, what we can have...
I thought the cliche was coming back to life.
No, the
like a ghost during the last act or something.
Usually the cliche is when it's all over, the spirit shows up to say, I'm proud of you, and then fades away.
Oh.
So, if you want that moment, I'm all for that, but let's let him be dead.
Okay.
To be honest, I think Lord of the Rings is the only one where he, like, comes back more powerful. Like, that's a Lord of the Rings thing.
Well, supposedly, Obi-Wan came back more powerful than you could possibly imagine.
He was still dead, though.
He was just, like, more powerful than you could possibly imagine. It's like, just give Luke some ghostly advice.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, he came in the spirit, said, "Good, here's what you could do," or some extra advice, and then fades away. Like, he's not allowed to do anything at this point. But maybe they need a pep talk and his spirit comes. But I don't care for that. I'd rather, like, once the battle's done, he comes on and gives them like a, "I watched and I'm proud," and then everyone cries a little, and the bard sings a sad little song, and as his spirit fades away. There's a lot of music, like not great music in this book. But it's also comedy relief.
Oh, we never put dwarves in there.
I don't know. Maybe this is just one where dwarves aren't there. You know, we don't need them all. We got a good amount. We even got an elf lake lady. Which, if you want, you can make a full civilization of just elf flakes, and they're just the keeper of the sword.
Maybe in this world, the elves live in the mountains.
Yeah, they live in the
Dwarves.
mountains, and they guard the sword and the lake, and there's like... Oh yeah, this is obviously... This is the trial of pure of heart. So you have like your physical challenge and your mental challenge, and then of course actually getting the sword is the purity of the heart challenge. You know, only the pure of heart can get it type thing. There's also the cliche of the friendship challenge. Only if your friendship is strong enough can you do it. But I think this is more of a pure of heart situation than the group's friendship.
Well, this is where that best buddy Samwise comes in and helps out.
Yeah, this is when the two bros go off on their own while the other four, because the wizard's still here at this point, go
It's like you guys must. It's like one of you must drink poison from a goblet, and it's like, oh well, it's like all the liquid must be drank. It's like, oh okay, well then what do we do? Which one is poisoned? Who's gonna die? And it's like, well, I'm just gonna pour all the liquid into one goblet and drink that sort of setup.
Yeah.
And then neither of them die because they're looking out for each other.
Yeah. Well, this is the case. So it's always the hero who does that, though, and that's why they get the sword.
Yeah, that's
they do it for the friend.
Sword.
Yeah, because they do it for the friend. They're like, no way am I letting you do that, and it's a sweet moment. So even in like this great moment, the friend is still kind of useless. He doesn't actually do anything.
Kind of dumb.
But he will still be your favorite character. He will be the one you're like, if he dies, I'm quitting the book. Well, the Lancelot character is the guy you simp over, and the damsel in distress is the one you get frustrated with for being so useless.
Emotional support cast.
Yes, he's very. We all love him.
Yeah, so that the hero doesn't give up.
Yeah, exactly. Emotional.
Don't give up, Mr. Frodo.
We can do this. I'll carry you if we have to. Yes. But
I may not be able to carry the ring, but I could carry you.
So dramatic. It was so good.
and there's one other thing. So, I want to add on. So the Lancelot character, because he's the prince, he troubles his father because he will never find a wife. And the reason for that is because no wife is good enough for him.
And then he
can't find that perfect woman because he's too perfect for the world. And then he finds Guinevere, and then he's disappointed, but because he's so perfect, he will leave with a smile to go off and try and find someone as perfect as Guinevere to marry him.
And and then of course and you can't let anyone know. You can't let him find it in the book, because the goal is for all the readers to simp over him and imagine themselves as that person. Like, that is his purpose in life.
And out of all of this entire thing, somehow I could actually see this being an enjoyable book.
That's because it's already a book, and we've already enjoyed them.
It's about like a million different books and stories,
yeah.
It's very cliche, but if done well enough,
it could
be very enjoyable.
Sometimes the classics, for one, they get the advantage of feeling like giving you a warm, familiar, fuzzy feeling. Like, you know how it's gonna happen, and that makes you okay with it, and you're just excited to see what new way it's gonna happen. Because I think the point is really that it's all about the journey. Like, you know what the end is, you know what the beginning, you know what the different chapter pieces are, but just watching them get there is what makes it enjoyable. Like, you just like listening to the counter love people bicker, and you like listening to the bard's stupid songs, and you like the groaning at the wizard's attempt at sounding dramatic and like really wise when he says honestly the most cliche things he can think of, and rooting for the friend helping even though he's absolutely useless. Stuff like that. Like, we just enjoy doing that. It's familiar to us, but and we're happy with that. So
yeah, I mean, Avatar: The Last Airbender, because just mark off your bingo cards. That show is just filled to the brim with cliches, but they're all done so incredibly well that they just stop being cliches and they just become significantly vital parts of the story, and they work really well together.
Yeah. Like, I would say, things like The Black Cauldron and Lord of the Rings and Narnia and Avatar, like all of these guys, all these stories that we absolutely adore and read, that Harry Potter, all these stories we read 1,000 times over, they are very cliche. They've got tons of cliches in them, but we love them because they're just amazing and they're cool and they're good. And if we really want to, we could go the Harry Potter route and have the best friend marry Guinevere. That was just a side thought. Just throw everyone off.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing about all the cliche classic stories. The reason that they are done so much is because they are proven that they work so well. Yeah. That's why they are done repeatedly.
Yeah.
It's a tried and true method that across all these different stories people continue to enjoy. And there's this goal that a lot of modern writers have, which is to make things as unique as possible, so that's never been done. And in the process, they actually end up creating something that's complete garbage a lot of the time, because they're just trying to veer so far off of the stuff that is proven to work and make something unique, that they just make something that's bad just for the sake of it being unique.
Or unrealistic. Because the truth of the thing is, like, a cliche is often that way because that's how the world works. Like, this is how it is. Like, there are love conflicts and relationships are complicated, and there's always people who are going to be loyal to other people, and you know, trials make groups really strong knits, and if you try to go against some of these core things that we see in stories that we know to be real in real life, and we see people doing the opposite, our brains are like, but that wouldn't actually happen. Like, there's no way you can make that make sense to me, because that's not how humanity works.
Yeah, and I want to make it extra clear here. When we say making something realistic or make something feel realistic, we're not talking about, like, of course, casting spells, that's not realistic. People can't actually cast spells. We're talking about, like, human nature.
Yeah.
And making that feel real. Because the goal of fantasy is to create the illusion of reality.
Yeah.
And make the fantastical elements, such as magic, feel real. And make the characters in these fantasy worlds feel real.
And also, that's the purpose of any story in general. There's this idea that you want people to relate to your stories. You want them to connect to their stories. You want them to cringe when your characters cringe, cry when your characters cry, and feel the emotions. And if you're not, and a hard part of doing that is using cliches, and like, cliches are an important part of getting people to react the way you want them to. It's the reason we use them a lot. And the truth is, like, cliches, though, there are unlimited possibilities of how to use them and how to combine them and how to tweak them and change them and stuff, that at the end of the day, your story is going to be unique anyways. Like, no one can tell me that Lord of the Rings isn't unique or that Avatar isn't unique. These are extremely unique stories that are heavily cliche filled. Say that word enough and it just becomes harder to say.
It just stops sounding like a word.
It does. It's very, we've said it too much. Okay,
it's
but
too cliche.
It is. It really is.
But
yeah.
Yeah, and I want to leave off on this then. There is a reason that people draw the line in regards to their suspension of disbelief in Batman v Superman when they say Martha. It's like, oh, they have the same name, sort of thing. There's a reason people draw the line for their suspension of disbelief there, and not at the alien shooting laser vision everywhere, fighting a guy dressed up like a bat.
Yeah. So I think that's a good place to end it. Ooh, DC, that's a new one. We don't reference that very often.
Oh yeah, well, I'm not a huge DC fan, so
I'd say add it to the bingo card as that one annoying thing people cross their fingers they'll get, but never do. It's that one it's always missing, and you're just like, for Pete's sake. Yeah. But I think that's a good place to end it. We got a bit philosophical there for story writing, but I think that's okay. So, but yeah, we're gonna end it there. That was a lot of fun. It felt pretty chill and calm, and just like, honestly, a good memory lane trip. And
it's just fun.
Yeah, it was kind of.
This is just a whole bunch of making fun of classic.
I don't think we made fun of it that much, though. I think we really just sat there. I think we were more like praising, admiring, and geeking over cliches. which I don't
Yeah, I mean,
doesn't
cliches
happen
aren't
enough.
necessarily bad.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't think we geek out about good cliches enough, so I think it was really fun to get to do that. And hopefully you guys enjoyed it too. If you're on YouTube, watching this on YouTube, leave in the comments your favorite cliche, like a cliche you love seeing in stories. Like, it always just makes your day to see it. Because I think it'd be fun to hear what you guys have to say about it. But otherwise...
Alternatively, because I'm a downer, leave the one that you hate the most.
True, yeah, do both. I'm intrigued by that too.
You know what? I'm feeling good. I'm feeling calm. I'm feeling reasonable. And given how we open, I'm just gonna say, bye, everyone.
Wow, that's...
Like, goodbye.
Yeah, bye.
That was the most normal outro I think
You
we've
know
ever
what's
had.
really weird is you did the cliche outro, but because of it being you, it was the most uncliche thing you could have done.